Понял, под моим управлением. Наблюдаю у вас 292.
Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Today we are reviewing and talking a little bit on the MiG-23MLA, the new addition that came in the Wind of Change patch in War Thunder for the German Tech tree. Make sure to subscribe and click the like button and see the other content that I have. I have a lot of content on War Thunder and other games. But let's get into it. First of all, a little bit of its history, and you know what basically what the MLA is. So what it is a version that came between the ML version and the MLD, being the MLD the most advanced version of the MiG-23, and the ML the mid-life upgrade that was one of the most the better improvements of the MiG-23 from the original M and S and the normal MiG-23. So yeah, of course it has the same weight reductions and improvement and power as the MLA, the normal ML already had, but of course it is a little bit later than that, so it had some more upgrades than the ML, mainly the radar and avionics and stuff like that. Of course, he uses the Sapphire 23 MLA radar, the same radar as in the MLD, but the MLD is a little bit more advanced. It has the Dash 3, if I'm not mistaken, and the MLA has the Dash 2, which is a pretty good radar already, but the MLD has a little bit better of a radar, you know. But yeah, way better than the MiG-23M in sensor-wise. The RWR is the Biriosa retrofitted, so it's the same as in the MiG-27s and the Su-22 and the MiG-23MLD. But the main difference that you are going to see in game from the M or MF to the MLA, of course, is the R-24. It's the ability to carry the R-24 missile, which is one of the best, if not the best, radar missile, and one of the best, if not the best, IR missile. But it is weird because it is not like a normal IR missile that you normally see. So yeah. Of course, it has the BVP 5060 flare pod together with the underbelly pod together also. So yeah, it is a very complete aircraft, very similar to the MLD, and the main differences to the MLD is, like I said, the radar is a little bit different. Of course, the MLD could carry the Air-73 missile, and the MLA couldn't. I don't think actually. But normally the Soviet MLAs became the MLD, so yeah. But the main differences is the aerodynamics to close range dogfighting. So as you're going to see, the slats they don't open automatically like in the MLD. They are operated by the flares. So there's that, and the overall design of the wing, it's a little bit different, which makes the MLA turn a little bit less than the MLD. Doesn't change much, you know, but it's like one of those things that the MLD can beat every single aircraft in the game, and the MLA probably will be right on top of that, but normally you will lose to the MLD and probably lose to an F5 or something if the pilot know what is he doing. So yeah, but these are the main differences. It's just a middle ground between the ML that we don't have in game right now and the MLD. But yeah, it is a very interesting aircraft, very capable, and one of the most advanced aircraft for the time, especially for the Germans. Of course, we have the R-24Rs, as I said before, in game, the R-24Ts, and the R-60s, which are probably the most advanced, you know, loadout that you can actually use. It's superior to any F4 in general, you know, in radar-wise. and on I mean, maybe not the Kai, but the normal F4s like the F4E and stuff like that. It is superior on turning capabilities and on radar and on missiles, probably just comparable to the. So yeah, it is better than the MF, especially in performance. In flight performance is way better. It has way less weight and a lot more power. The radar, as I said before, is a lot better. So, and the missiles, of course, the R-24, being one of the best missiles in the game, is just, you know, there's not much to talk about. It's way better than the R-23 that the MF has and the MM has. So, yeah, the pros and cons of this aircraft. Of course, I have to say the pros beforehand because there are so many of them. A lot of flares, of course. The radar is amazing, even though I don't know how the Russians actually did this. But even though it was not a fully developed pulse Doppler radar, even being a monopulse radar, it's just it can filter out a lot of the ground clutter, even in the normal mode. So you kind of don't need a pulse Doppler. So it's one of the most advanced radars out there. I mean, of course, the Kai has one of the better radars, you know, and the Vegan, of course. But still, it's just such an amazing radar that you kind of don't need to use even the MTI sometimes, even when you're flying in low altitude. So yeah, that's a pro. The flares, as I said, a lot of flares. The speed is amazing, one of the fastest aircraft in the game. The missiles, I mean, the R-24s are just amazing. As you're going to see, I'm gonna post a lot of kills on the R-24s. They're just amazing. I know the R-24Ts are the easier missile to use, and in general a lot of people like to use them, but personally I enjoy more using the R-24R, just because the radar cannot be fooled as much as the II version of the missile. So yeah, it has this bug that you maintain the lock on the chaff and the missile goes for the target. It even once worked like a Fox 3 once. I shot a missile on one guy and the missile went for another guy, and then I shot again the missile on the guy that I was locking and I killed both of them. So there are bugs and stuff, but in general the R-24 is just an amazing missile, and especially with this radar. So yeah. Another thing that it's, of course, is the performance, the flight performance. Being a swept wing that it's movable, you can have the best of both worlds. So it is one of the best dogfighters in top tier, and it is one of the fastest aircraft in top tier at the same time. So it is, I mean, the best of both worlds, and that's the objective of having a movable wing, you know. And it's just complicated sometimes to use. I understand that there's a lot of people that have problems with this, normally using it in auto mode, which I extremely go against it, even though the auto mode is a little bit easier, especially when you are starting to fly this aircraft. I just think that you have a lot more capabilities using on manual. You do a lot of things more quickly. Getting to dogfights can be a lot more easier in general if you use the manual mode. But I understand that there is a learning curve, so you have to think about that. But in general, the max speed that you break the wings, it's like 1,470 kilometers per hour, which is the same as the Kafir, which is pretty amazing. And the Kafir is already one of the fastest aircraft in the game. So yeah, it's just an amazing aircraft, and the turning capabilities can be, even though they are a little bit less than the MLD, they can be a lot better than most of the aircraft that you're going to face, you know. But these are the main things. Of course, the R60, even though it's not the M variant, it's still the R60, one of the most amazing missiles in the game. IR, you know, and it's just a very amazing aircraft. The cons are obviously the complexity of using such a radar and such a wing design. You have a lot of buttons to click, and the radar can be a lot of times it can be tricky to use because it has a lot of modes. Has the MTI mode and stuff, and I have some videos on that if you want to check it out. But a lot of the MiG-23s have a lot of these modes. So look down mode, a normal search mode, depending on the altitude that you are, the MTI mode, which is kind of a pull stopper mode. So in general, it's complex. You know, this is one of the worst things in this aircraft is that it's such a complex aircraft to fly that normally people end up having troubles with it. As you see, the MF and the MiG-23M, they are not that far back from this performance of this aircraft, but the statistics of it show that a lot of people have problems with these aircraft, and I think it's just the way that the design works. You know, the swept wings together with the radar they're complicated. You know, they're very complicated. But if you have the time and you know the capabilities of just learning a little bit and stuff and reading a little bit about it, I guarantee you that this aircraft can win a dogfight against every single aircraft in the game if you know what you're doing, and also in a BVR engagement. And I'm serious about that. I'm so serious that I actually made some videos just to prove it that the R24 is, or I mean, maybe it's not the best missile in the game because we have the M7F, which in long range is a lot better than the R24, but I think in close range, together with this radar, of course, the missile and the radar always works together. So you have the J8, for example, that have one of the best missiles radar guided in the game, which is the Aspide, but it has one of the worst radars in top tier, which makes the J8 kind of complicated sometimes to use. You know, a lot of the times the missile just go for the chaff, and you know it doesn't work properly. Just kind of a 50 to 60% hit chance, and in this missile, in this aircraft, I get like 80 to 90% hit rates, sometimes 70, sometimes even 100. I made a test yesterday. I shot basically 16 missiles and I basically missed 3 of them. And normally when you miss missiles are probably because you didn't get into the best envelope of flight performance for the missile. Normally it's not the missile's fault, it's end up being your fault. So as you see, I'm going to show a lot of clips showing the BVR capabilities of this aircraft. As you see, it's just an amazing missile, very fast one. It has a very long burn time, like 3 seconds, and together with 50 kilonewtons of power, which is, I mean, look at that. You have the chaff, the radar locking on the chaff, but the missile went for the target still. So once you fire the missile and the guy dropped flare, just maintain the lock on the chaff and the missile will continue to guide itself to the target. I don't know why, maybe it's a bug or something, but it is how it works right now. And as you see, a very, very long range shot. I mean, as I said before, the M7F is still greater for longer ranges. I still take over the... Look at this. I aimed on the FRJ and it killed the Kafir for some reason. And then I had the lock on the FRJ and I killed the FRJ as well. I mean, it's such a... I'm not gonna say that is OP, but it is kind of OP, you know. Such an amazing missile and kind of glitchy, but you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I know a lot of people, as I said before, enjoy the R24T, and I'm glad that people enjoy that missile because it is one of the best missiles in the game also. But try it out. Try it out, the radar version. With the custom loadout, of course, we will see a version that you would... I mean, you can actually do this but without the R60s. But it is to use the R24R together with one R24T. which would be probably one of the best options out there, because you have both of best worlds, you know. But I still take over 2 R-24Rs. It's just such an amazing missile that, for me personally, there's no reason to use the R-24Ts with the flare buff that we received a while back. So yeah, it's just I know I sound like a broken record, but it is such an amazing missile that you cannot even, you know, conceive the capabilities of using another thing. It is, together with the FRJ, my favorite missile and my favorite aircraft to do BVR. One of the easier ones. As I said before, there is a complexity to it. The radar can have a lot of modes and stuff. It's not just the normal mode and full stopper. So yeah, it can be a little bit difficult on that, but it's worth it. It's always worth it. So yeah, think about that. And the normal ranges that I normally fire these missiles are 10 to 15 kilometers. In that manner, you can maximize the amount of energy that the missile will have, and the enemy will probably not see the missile coming. Remember that the spotting system in War Thunder works for missiles only at maximum of 10 kilometers, but even at that distance, the target has to have an ace crew with all the maximum things, which probably most of the players don't have it, so they won't see the missile coming, okay? They just won't. As you see, 90% of the kills that I have are people that doesn't know the missile is coming. They don't pay attention to the RWR, which is a problem as well. You always have to have one eye at least on the RWR. But in general, even with that, you will see that you get a lot of kills of unsuspected targets that don't know what they are being fired. So yeah, it's pretty amazing missile. I hope you enjoy kind of the review. Try to fly high at the start of the match. You know, it's just the way that these MiGs and F4s work better, you know. Fly high, try to get people, try to intercept them. It is kind of an interceptor. The PVO used this aircraft for a long time to intercept people, even into the 90s. So it is a very capable interceptor, very fast, accelerating, very fast in top speed, and with amazing weaponry so that you can get a lot of kills with it. Okay, I still think it deserves the R60M, together with, of course, the counterparts of Americans and stuff like that, like the M9L and stuff. It is a missile from 1977, so I think it should be in the game for the MLD and the MLA, but together with other stuff for other nations. But I hope you enjoyed, and I see you guys on the next one tomorrow.